Today we're going to be talking about some pretty famous urban legends. We're going to start with Bigfoot. So the legend of Bigfoot. The legend of Bigfoot go back beyond recorded history and cover the entire world, in North America especially, particularly in the Northwest. You can hear you can hear tales of a 7-foot hairy man stalking the woods, occasionally scaring campers, lumberjacks, hikers alike. Bigfoot is known for many titles in many different cultures, although Bigfoot is generally attributed to a monstrous western region of North America. Another common name is the Sasquatch. It comes from its Salish squats. Anyways, so it's mainly in the northwestern plains of America, and in times of danger, it's supposed the legend says that it's a messenger of warning telling man to change their ways. And it seems that every time we have seen Bigfoot, apparently it's supposed to be a warning telling us that we're making the earth go bad. North American settlers reported sightings all the way up to the late 1800s into the 1900s, occasionally finding footprints. Even to this day, we're still seeing Bigfoot. I'm not actually sure when the last sighting was, but we're still seeing Bigfoot. And there's a few grainy photos and videos adding to this mystery, and there have been people who claim to see Bigfoots, describing everything from a large upright ape to an actual, just really hairy human that's standing over 8 feet tall and powerfully built. The debate and the research continues as entire organizations study and document Bigfoot and try to prove its existence. And they're regularly searching the Northwest woods looking for the proof that says that Bigfoot is real. Bigfoot does exist, and the National Guard of Washington adopted a mascot for Bigfoot, actually, and to this day, we're still continuously observing and looking for Bigfoot, not Bigfoot, and we know now that Bigfoot is a messenger of warning. So, Stormy, if this was real, 1 out of 10, how scary would you see this legend?
I'd say 5.
If you're like hiking or camping or whatever, and you came face to face with Bigfoot, what would be your reaction?
Oh shit, it's Bigfoot.
Yeah. He's
Like
pretty popular.
it just it just depends. Like now, if he just appears out of the fog, I'm out.
Yeah. I My uncle is actually a pretty firm believer of Bigfoot, and he says that he has seen him a few times. And when I was young, he was always like, watch out when you're walking home, Bigfoot's gonna get you. So I actually have a painting of Bigfoot on my wall. It's a legend that's pretty close to my heart. And it's in the area that I live, so maybe one day I'll get to see Bigfoot.
If you
So the
do, you gotta take pictures.
what?
Take pictures if you do,
Yeah.
because I
I'll
want
be
to see.
I'll be the next freak on the news. Right. So the next one, again, really popular one, it's the legend of Bloody Mary. I think all of us as kids went to a mirror and said Bloody Mary 3 times. I was
Not me.
personally very scared of this. What about you,
I
Stormy?
never got forced to do. No, I never did that.
Uh,
you think I'm about to do that? Hell no. I'm not risking anything. Cause what if like she actually just comes out the mirror, man? What are you about to do?
Die.
Exactly. You can't do anything. I'm not trying to die, so I'm not trying to risk.
Yeah, so there's actually several adaptations of Bloody Mary. It just depends what one you believe the most. Today we're going to go over the one where Bloody Mary was a witch in the 1800s, I think. Um, quick personal story though. When I was in elementary school, definitely. Um, it was around midnight and I was at the park. And I thought it'd be cool if I took my phone with a flashlight and went into the bathroom and said her name 3 times. I was pretty paranoid for a few years. Anyways, getting off topic here. The Bloody Mary legend is really old, and you've probably heard it back in primary school or your young siblings or family members told you it. It's based on many stories and folklore that is believed to be true upon the story of a witch, Mary Worth, the Bloody Mary. May seem somewhat innocent until you learn quite how gruesome and violent the tale is. It has all witches, kidnappings, burnings, a witch at the stake of magic. Take a ride through us with this spooky story of Mary Worth and learn where this legend came from and how and why you might not want to say Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror. So think back to your childhood with sleepovers, talking about ghosts and spooky stories, watching horror movies that are completely inappropriate. You are piping the voice who said Bloody Mary. Hopefully not, because you likely would have been snookered into this legend, which says if you hold a lit candle in a darkened room with a mirror, any darkened room will do, usually the bathroom though, and say Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. I shouldn't finish it. Into the mirror, you'll be greeted with a rather startling image of Bloody Mary in the mirror behind you. Different retellings of the story offer different versions of the tale, with some imaging Bloody Mary as quite literally dripping in blood when she appears behind you. Others telling that she'll drag you away if you turn around and look at her in person, as well as violent murders and blood pouring from the taps. So, Maryworth. Is Bloody Mary even real? Some people think so. Some people think it's a story of the witch Maryworth. It's fair to say that Bloody Mary's history is long and well extremely bloodied, but many people have already believed that Mary was a witch simply because she lived in the forest in an extremely small cabin and was known for the local villages. Was known around the local village as for selling stuff like herbal remedies, stuff like that. You know, burn at the stake, Salem witch trials, that kind of stuff. The locals were really wary of her and didn't want to get too close, fearful that she'd curse them or their animals, and those who chose to use her remedies were sometimes shunned by very religious people. Soon, small girls started to go missing in the village. People looked everywhere, man. That they could even like they could even think of where to look for them. They searched the forest, everything, and nobody could find these little girls. A few brave people ventured towards Bloody Mary's cabin in search of the girls, although the witch denied all knowledge of the girls' disappearances. The family were suspicious of her. Usually the elderly had drastic images of her, and she was starting to appear more feminine and youthful. Like, she was ugly, but over time she started to become more feminine, youthful, pretty. And that's why the villagers started to become so suspicious of her. Bloody Mary continues with the miller's daughter. One night, the poor girl was captivated by this mysterious noise that only she could hear. Her mom was sitting up in the chair, sitting up in bed, treating a very bad toothache. As luck would have it, with with Bloody Mary's herbal techniques that she had bought from Mary. Miller's wife was very frightened and was shouted at from her husband to come help her and her daughter. And they were shouting, looking for her daughter, but they came back with no avail. So obviously they're going to blame it on Mary. Um, so they like they were unspoken, unseen of her, so they're forced to getting help of some townfolk. The farmers, the town farmer noticed that there was a light on the edge of the wood. When they got closer, they noticed it was Mary Worth's cabin, and she was standing in a clearing next to a huge oak tree. She was holding a wand and pointing it towards the miller's home, and it was almost glowing with an unnatural light. And Miller's daughter was heading straight towards that light. When people ask, "What is Bloody Mary?" it's actually quite hard to answer because usually in legends, witches don't typically have wands and glow with unnatural light. But it's fair to say that most people imagine her as a witch or another type of supernatural being. Once the farmers and the miller's father noticed that it was Maryworth's doing, they set upon her with pitchforks and guns. When she realized everyone from the village, she broke the spell and made into the forest. So how did Bloody Mary die? Because there's several stories of it was a teenage girl who killed herself in front of a mirror, on and on. But in this story, well, I'll just get back to the story so you can learn that. She wasn't quick enough from the farmer, and he quickly loading his gun with silver bullets in the event that Mary ever decided to turn her attention towards his daughter. He fired a shot and caught her in the hip. She was caught clicking and thrashing and screaming, and they tied her to a stake in the bonfire. And it was promptly built so that this witch could be gone for good. As she was burning, she set a curse upon the villagers and told them if they ever dared to utter her name upon a mirror, she would come back for them, and her spirit would return wherever they summoned her to exact her revenge. Unfortunately for the villagers' missing children, when they got back to the village and returned to Mary's house and did a proper search, they found what they were looking for: rows and rows of unmarked graves. It seems she had been using their blood to make her useful. So, the curse. The Bloody Mary legend doesn't end there, however. The most common of Bloody Mary says that if you chant her name in a mirror 3 times, you will summon the Mary ghost. And unfortunately for she'll take your soul from ripping it out of your body and ripping you to shreds in the process. She'll leave your soul to burn, and just like that, your family will be asking, is Bloody Mary a real legend? So, if Bloody Mary was real, how scared of her would you be?
10. You think I'm getting my soul ripped out? No.
And maybe tonight we should
Absolutely.
go to the mirror.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah?
I don't know who we is,
No, me
not
and you.
I.
Later tonight, we should go
Not
to the
then,
mirror.
not I. You talk about, not I.
Yeah,
I don't know who we is.
you don't know who we is?
No, I don't know who that is. I don't know who we is.
Oh, okay.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it is a
And
pretty
not talk
scary night.
about me.
Actually, in one of my schools that I went to, again, I went to several different elementary schools, but in my second elementary school, we had our own Bloody Mary legend. In one of the bathrooms, somebody said that a kid committed suicide by drowning himself in the toilet, and if you were to say his name 3 times in the mirror, you would act like he would summon you and drown you. Like, he wouldn't summon you, he'd be summoned and drown you. And I was terrified of that bathroom, and I actually, I convinced myself to see stuff in that bathroom. It was crazy.
How do you drown yourself in the toilet?
Like, like you put your head in there and you flush the toilet. I don't know, man. It happens, okay? It was a bunch of 5-year-olds making up legends to scare us. Okay,
Okay.
this one. I think we've all heard of him. Um, you ever heard of Slender Man?
Yeah. The tall dude.
Yeah. You want to do this one, or want me to keep going?
Um I don't really know that much about legends like that.
Mm. So this is a really long one. It's longer than the Bloody Mary one, actually, because it dives into his behavior and um how he was actually mentioned in history in several different mythologies. So I'm kind of just gonna skim through this, and that was the only ones I had planned for tonight. But I'll go ahead and come up with some more to keep you entertained for an hour, since it's only been 16 minutes. So I will get into his appearance. Slenderman is a male, of course, who is has extremely long arms and legs, appears to have 4 to 8 black tentacles that protrude from his back. In different photographs, enthusiasts disagree. In fact, therefore, it is theorized that it can contract the tentacles at will. Did not know that, actually. Remember those girls who killed their friend because they thought Slender Man was telling them to?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's real. Get into that later.
Well, I mean, if he is, let's hope he's not meant for us.
You never know. He might be watching you from your window.
Yeah, he's in your closet. Go open it.
I don't have a closet, though. Anyways,
He's outside your window.
yeah, he's gonna get me later tonight.
He's peeking through your curtain right now.
I don't even have a curtain. Anyways, he's described as wearing a black suit, and it's a black vintage suit. And I, what was I? And as the name suggests, he's slender, very skinny and tall. So that's kind of just, his face is pale, doesn't have any facial features. Um,
His his face is like all white. It's like a ghost.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, he's not the most handsome fella. Um, uh, I might at the end here. I'll pull up some pictures, maybe. I don't know though. Still getting this whole screen recording thing all figured out, but if I can figure it out, I'll go ahead and pull up some pictures. So, um, people are fascinated with Slenderman, of course. Yeah, shouldn't even have to really get into it, but they're pretty fascinated with him, and the overall aura of the mystery that he's wrapped in, and the fact that he's rumored to kill children exclusively. And it's so it's kind of difficult whether or not to say his only objective is to slaughter people. We don't know. I'm talking like he's real, but depending on the person, and plus, you never know what's out there in those woods. Um, but he is rumored and even recorded to be found in sections of woods, genuinely suburban areas. He's also reported to be seen with large groups of children that actually many photographs portray. He is also commonly resides in the woods, like I said, and he stays in the forests and preys on children. He seems to be unconcerned with being exposed to daylight or being captured in photos. Like, he just doesn't care, man. He just wants to kill children.
But
It's
why do you
often,
think he wants to kill children?
I don't know, maybe he had a rough childhood. Maybe he was like Michael Myers, just got bullied too much in school one day and decided, oh, I'm gonna kill everybody.
No, Michael Myers, man's got burned up a lot. Like, oh wait, no, that was Freddy Krueger. My bad.
no, no, Michael Myers, he killed his sister, but I like to say the reason he killed his sister was because he had a really bad day in school. He was like what, 8 or something. Correct me in the comments, but yeah. Anyways, it's often thought he actually enjoys stalking people who become paranoid about his existence, purposely giving them glimpses of himself to further frighten them. It seems that he likes psychologically torturing his victims. He also appears to float or drift around rather than walk, and he suggests the possibility of him being either ethereal, a creature, or a man. This would also explain why he remains mobile in spite of his what is it? Went right out of my head. Um, Proportioned body. Even though Slender Man was fabricated as on something awful, forums, some people have already claimed his sightings. He is seen mostly at night peering into open windows as he walks out in the front of lone of secluded roads. His main intention appears to be kidnapping children, as when seen near them in photographs. He usually disappears shortly afterwards. Slender Man has also inspired many stories such as Marble Hornets. In in the end, although his purpose remains unknown. So, like I said earlier, um he has been mentioned in history. So I'm gonna go through these. There's Brazilian cave paintings, Egyptian hieroglyphs, German woodcuts, Roman mythology, even English mythology. Actually, I did not know that. But there's lots of stuff with him. I'm just gonna kind of skim through these, especially since the German woodcuts is really, really long, and I'm gonna mispronounce some of the stuff because I don't know German. Um, so starting off with the Brazilian cave paintings. The earliest argued reference of the legend is within a cave paintings found in Ser da Capivara National Park in northeast Brazil, which are believed to date as far back as 9000 BC. These paintings strangely look like the character of Slenderman leading a child by his hand, but make no more references. What do you think about that, Stormy?
Um, pedophile.
Yeah, old Slender's a pedophile. So, moving on to Egyptian. The next known possible reference to Slender Man comes around 3100 BC in Lower Egypt, with references to the thief of the gods or the thief of Kuk. Quetzalcoatl, becoming commonplace during the reign of Pharaoh Wanzer. I should know this stuff, but I don't, so don't get mad at me.
What are you trying to
Hieroglyphics.
say?
What?
What are you trying to say?
Trying to say that I actually know how to read hieroglyphs, but for some reason I don't know how to say their names.
That's
Anyway,
cool.
there are hieroglyphic carvings that represent a thief that was found in the pharaoh's tombs who was rumored to have some kind of encounter with an entity. The carvings resemble a strange figure with multiple upper limbs, one that has never been found in any other hieroglyphic language. Okay, this one is going to be the hard one. It's also longer, so again, I'm going to skim through it. But this is the German woodcuts. I do not know anything about this one. So, a renowned German woodcutter, Hans Frederikenberg, created at least 2 woodcut figures featuring a character he's described as Der Ritter, the Knight. During the mid-16th century, that was discovered at Hausberg Castle in 1883. While Frederick Bird was known for his realistic description of a human anatomy, something unusual among the woodcuts of the time, these pictures featured skeletal, multi-limbed character. Historians are unsure of the exact symbolic nature of the creature, with some claiming that it was a personification of religious wars that raged in Europe at the time, while others say it represents mysterious plagues that were believed to be the reason for the mysterious.
I got a question for you.
What?
Would you eat a jellyfish?